Hello everyone, I am Smriti Bhatia from MyForex Eye. Welcome to the webinar on exporters' misguided conclusion on forex hedging. Exporters having exposure in dollars usually do not fear the impact of currency fluctuations on their future receivables. Why so? This is because they believe that in the future, currency will only move in their favorable direction and they will gain by keeping the position open. Many exporters come to us saying that we don't hedge forex exposures as USDINR is always appreciating. Is this a myth or a fact? Well, we believe that this fact or this conclusion is not entirely true. No doubt that rupee has been weakening on a long-term basis. But what about the forward premiums? Are we missing something? Well, let me draw your attention to the following points. Whenever an exporter hedges his forward position, he receives a forward premium. Exporters hedge their forward position using forward contracts. What are forward contracts? A forward contract lets an exporter book a rate today at which he will convert his future receivables. By doing so, he protects his cash flows from adverse currency movements and gains certainty on them. On this forward hedging, the exporter receives the forward premium. That is the benefit. The next point is that does rupee always weaken against the dollar? Well, in the long term it does, but what about short and medium term? There have been instances in short term and medium term when rupee has appreciated against the dollar. And in such times, the exporters who had hedged their exposure were able to protect their cash flows. The next point is that even if the rupee depreciates against the dollar, have you ever considered if the rupee depreciation is really greater than the forward premium? What if the amount or the percentage by which rupee depreciates is less than the forward premium you receive on forward hedging? To put it in simple words, are we looking at the complete picture? To find out, an analysis was done by MyForex Eye to dig a little deep into this conclusion and understand why exporters conclude this. We set some basic parameters to find out whether it is actually true or are there some hidden facts. Well, an extensive historical data analysis was done to find what is more beneficial for exporters by booking a forward contract or keeping the position open. The analysis was done to evaluate how forward rates and spot rates function in the period of 20 years. What is their behavior? We wanted to observe how the both move and what is more beneficial at the end of the day for the exporter. For this, the following methodology was used. An analysis of USDINR data for the past 20 years, that is from January 2000 till today, was done. Forward contracts of maturities of 3 months, 6 months and 12 months were selected. For each maturity, a forward contract was booked on the first working day of the month and the middle of each month. By doing so, we could closely look at the rupee movement in the most volatile times as well. A comparison was done between USDINR forward premiums and rupee depreciation. That is, if the forward contract was booked or if the position was kept open. Finally, the gains and losses were computed by comparing the forward rate with spot at maturity. Forward rate is the rate at which an exporter would convert his receivables if he had booked a forward contract. On the other hand, spot at maturity is the rate at which the exporter would convert his receivables if he had kept his position open. The results were as follows. As you can see, the following were the outputs from the analysis. Average annualized forward premiums were found out for maturities of 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months each. Average annualized forward premiums are the forward premium for the following contract averaged for the period of 20 years. Similarly, average rupee weakening is the percentage by which rupee depreciated or appreciated. Basically, the percentage change in rupee in 3 months, 6 month, and 12-month period for a average taken for a period of 20 years. Average gain was computed from the difference of forward premium and rupee weakening. This basically tells us what an exporter had gained if he had booked forward contracts instead of keeping the position open. The total number of observations are the number of contracts booked in the period of 20 years. Percentage successful trades tells us the possibility of an exporter gaining by booking a forward contract instead of keeping the position open. It is basically that out of 100 trades, how many times an exporter has gained by booking a forward contract. The observations. What we observed from this analysis was that rupee weakened by not more than 3% on an average annually. On the other hand, forward premiums received by the exporter on forward booking were quite high, almost greater than 4%. All in all, the exporters gained more if they completely hedged than if they kept the position open. The success ratio was quite decent as well. Out of 100 trades, gains were 64 times. This also tells us that the gains were frequent while the losses were rare. To dwell a little more deeper, let us look at the USD/INR 6 months annualized forward premium chart. As you can see, over the period of 20 years, that is from 2000 to 2020, the forward premiums were quite volatile. It has been as low as 1% and as high as 9%. Also, did you notice that in the period from 2000 to 2010, the forward premiums were very low initially. The average for the period was less than 3%, while there is an increase in forward premiums from 2011 till 2020. The average forward premium for the 10-year period is almost double, 5.84%. Interesting. Let us look at the USD/INR chart from 2000 to 2020 to know more. Rupee has been quite volatile as well. It has depreciated but has appreciated too, like I said. From 2000 to 2010, currency depreciation was less than 1% annually. So this is mainly because the international business was quite less. While from 2011 to 2020, currency depreciation was around 5% since mid 2011. Well, of course, exports and imports increased quite a bit in this period, hence the depreciation. So, from looking at these charts, we thought that we should probably divide our analysis into two further parts, from 2000 to 2010 and from 2011 to 2020, to see if the results are consistent or not. The methodology was kept the same. Forward contracts for a period of 3 months, 6 months and 12 months maturity with the similar dates were booked, and the following were the outputs. Average annualized forward premium for all the contracts was calculated. Average rupee weakening was calculated from 2010, from 2000 to 2010, and from 2011 to 2020 separately. And the average gain was computed by the difference of forward premiums and rupee weakening. As you can see, the figures are quite dynamic. There is a drastic change in the figures. But wait a minute. The results are quite consistent. The observations based on the 10-year analysis were as follows. Rupee weakening was less than 1% in initial 10 years, while in the recent 10 years, it was around 5%. On the other hand, forward premiums received in the initial 10 years were low as well, while in the later years it was more than double to around 5.7%. The gains increase in later 10 years as compared to the initial years. But the exporters who had hedged using forward contracts did gain rather than keeping the position open. The gains increased in the next 10 years to around 40% than initial years of around 33%. That is a notable change. So the conclusion is as follows. Of course, proper risk management system should be adopted by companies to hedge their foreign currency risk properly. Receive both protection and forward premium on hedging. When exporters book forward contracts, they not only protect their cash flows from adverse currency movements, but they also receive a benefit on it, that is the forward premium. Dollar exporters, if they hedge blindly for a period of 20 years, they gain 1.2% on an average on forward hedging. For better returns, it is recommended by MyForex Eye for exporters to book the forward contracts as soon as they get exposed to currency risk. Thank you, everyone. That is all for today. I hope all your questions have been answered regarding the topic. For any further queries, feel free to reach out to us on the mail ID research@myforexeye.com. You can also call us on 777 100 9009.